Hari Om, good morning children. Yeah, welcome to this poetry session, Unit 4, the ant and the cricket. We are doing with the fourth unit. Yeah, previously we had seen the prose part, The Attic, written by Satyajit Ray, a popular Indian film director. And he reinstates that we'll have to learn to apologize, to realize our mistakes, and to rectify our mistakes. Rectification in the sense not to repeat the mistake or the fault again. Now this is a poem based on the concept of hard work, planning and hard work. And this particular poem is adapted from Aesop's fables. Fables are nothing but short stories that impart moral to us here, and it is always with the animals characterized here. So they impart the messages, they impart the morals that we'll have to learn, and that through animals. So we are quite familiar with this Panchatantra stories where we deal with the animals, and through the stories of the animals we are imparted with the morals here. Now this particular poem is adapted from the Aesop's fables. Coming to this author, Aesop's fables is a collection of fables credited to Aesop. And this Aesop is a slave and a storyteller believed to have lived in ancient Greece between 620 and 564 BC. Okay, so Aesop's fables is a collection of fables. Fables, as I already told you, is a short story or a legend that may not have truth in it, but it imparts the qualities to be imbibed, and it is characterized by the animals here. And this is a collection of fables written by Aesop, and this Aesop is a slave and a storyteller who is believed to have lived in ancient Greece between 620 and 564 BCE. Now these fables became popular when they emerged in print. Several stories are attributed to Aesop even today. Even today we have such moral stories there. The process of inclusion is continuous and new stories are being added. Collection of Aesop fables were among the earliest books to be printed in many languages. Okay. As I already told you, fables is a moral story here. So these morals teach us of how to lead a safe and comfortable life here. Okay, of course that is very important, and through these moral stories only we learn of how to carry ourselves. Okay, now coming to this poem, The Ant and the Cricket, is about a careless cricket and hard working ant. So you are talking about, I told you, these stories, Aesop fables are usually characterized with the animals here, and here we have this cricket which is very lazy, versus hard working ant. We all know that ants are hard working creatures. The cricket, on the other hand, was a lazy being which sang day and night and made no effort to plan for the future. So the story is woven around two characters here, the ant and the cricket. The ant is a creature and industrious. It never keeps idle there. It plans and works hard. Hard work fetches fortune. And therefore it leads a very safe, secure and comfortable life. On the other hand, you have a cricket, and this cricket was young and silly it was just a merry-making character there. It was always singing and dancing day and night. It had no responsibility and it made no efforts to plan for the future there. Okay? Okay. I think I have made clear. The poem is about the ant and the cricket. As you know, ant is an industrious insect which is very well known for its hard-working nature. And then you are talking about the cricket, which is very careless, irresponsible creature, and which always sings and dances throughout, making no efforts to plan for the future. So we are dealing with the poem The Ant and the Cricket, which is an extract from Aesop's tale. Aesop's fables. Fables are nothing but short stories that impart morals to the people there, and these are created by Aesop, a slave and a storyteller, believed to have lived in ancient Greece between 620 and 564 BCE, and his fables have become very popular in the form of prints there, prints, Prints, and this includes a number of stories added to it, and this collection of fables were among the earliest books to be printed in many languages. Okay, you are talking about two creatures here, ant, industrious and hardworking, which stands as a model and the model for responsibility in our life there, and cricket, a very careless creature there. This poem teaches the importance of hard work and planning. Okay, planning is a crucial step to any sort of success. So without planning, we can never move. So we'll have to allot timings, and in that we'll have to move. And hard work, of course. There is no substitute for hard work. Only hard work fetches you fortune. So planning and hard work will have to go simultaneously. Plan, execute. And this execution comes only through the hard work. And the poem deals with a silly young cricket and an ant. So you can just say hard work versus idle cricket. The cricket spends its time wasting by singing and dancing all summer. And during winter, its cupboard is empty, nothing can be found at all. Now, not knowing what to do, it approaches the ant. But here ant is given or identified or highlighted as a stingy character. Let's read the poem and understand line by line. A silly young cricket, accustomed to sing through the warm sunny months of gay summer and spring, began to complain when he found that at home his cupboard was empty and winter was come. So the opening scene itself, you have this young cricket. Cricket, of course, you can also call it a variety related to this grasshopper. Grasshoppers are the locusts. They are not a friend to the farmers, they are enemies to the farmers because they just feed on the plants, they just eat or they cause damages to the plants there, and thereafter you have reduction in the yield there. Okay, and now I think at present this is a scenario going on, the visiting of the desert grasshoppers and so on, and here we also come across. Now these type of creatures are very lazy, and they just come in swarms and they just damage the crops, thereby putting or pushing the farmers into the well or into the deep well. And here we are talking about the silly young cricket, accustomed to sing, who used to sing through the warm sunny months of gay summer and spring, irrespective of seasons. Whatever come may, it's not bothered. It is indulged in itself in merry making, and the merry making is singing and dancing all the time there. So during the summer he had just waited, and during the spring he just suffers, and when the spring came he began to complain that his cupboard was empty and the winter was come. So winter, I know it is completely covered with snow, and then you don't have any production and all that, and therefore he had wasted all his summer singing and dancing. He hadn't stored even a single grain, and his cupboard was empty, it seems. A silly young cricket, accustomed to sing through the warm sunny months of gay summer and spring, began to complain when he found that at home his cupboard was empty and winter was come. So all through the summer season, so the poet introduces us to the two seasons here, the summer and the spring, and during the summer the cricket has wasted all its time singing and dancing, and when the winter came it was completely wet and cold, okay, and then his cupboard was empty without any storage of grain, it seems. Not a crumb to be found on the snow covered ground, not a flower could he see, not a leaf on a tree. And that is the identification of the spring season. The autumn season, you have the falling of leaves and all that, and you have the bare trees standing there, and not a crumb to be found. He did not find any bread there, it seems. Okay, he had been singing and dancing, he hadn't stored any grain there, and that is what he means by not a crumb to be found on the snow covered ground. Okay, it is completely filled with snow and you don't have any production, you don't have any growth there, so it has completely affected the growth there, and therefore he did not have a crumb, and because of the snow covered ground. Not a flower could he see, not a leaf on a tree, and that is a symbol of a autumn system, the significance and the identification of the autumn season there. Oh, what will become, says cricket, of me. And only now he just realizes the situation that he hadn't stored any grain, and is just questioning to himself there, oh, what will become of me. At last, by starvation and famine made bold, all dripping with wet and all trembling with cold, away he set off to a miserly ant to see if to keep him alive he would grant. Okay. Now he had missed a summer season, he hadn't stored any sort of grain there, the winter has come and he could not find a crumb there because the snow has covered the entire ground there, and all the plants and the trees were bare without leaves and flowers there. And now he realizes a mistake of having stored any grain. He is wondering and he asks questions to himself of what he was going to do. Now this particular period of starvation and famine had turned him bold there, and he was completely dripping with wet and trembling with cold. He did not know what to do and had an idea of meeting the miserly ant, seeking for help. Now in the next stanza we will know of what sort of help that he approached the ant for. Okay children, hope you have understood the first three stanzas here. The first stanza talks about the silly young cricket who used to sing throughout the summer there, and when the winter came he just started complaining that his cupboard was empty as the winter had set in. He hadn't bothered to store any sort of grain in the summer for the winter season. And what was the complaint there? Not a crumb to be found on the snow covered ground. Not a flower could he see, not a leaf on a tree. Now this is the indication of the winter season there, and he could not find a crumb, and the snow has covered the entire ground there, and all the plants and trees were without leaves and flowers. Now he realizes his mistake and questions to himself of how he was going to overcome this situation of starvation and famine. Now this made him bold to approach a miserly ant for help there, so that he could keep himself alive. Okay. Now coming to this fourth stanza. His shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. Now why should he approach this miserly ant? He had to approach this miserly ant for the shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. Okay, it was because he was just starving without food, and the famine which proves that his cupboards were empty without any storage of grain there, and for the want of food and for the want of shelter, he thought he would approach the miserly ant. So, him shelter, to see if to keep him alive, he would grant him shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. Who would grant him rain and who would grant him grain? The miserly ant. Okay, he was just starving without food. His cupboards are empty without any storage of grain, because he had spent his days singing and dancing throughout the summer, and now as the winter has set in, he could not find a crumb there, and the snow has covered the entire ground. The trees and the plants were left bare without any leaves or flowers, and due to this starvation, he thought he would approach the ant for food and shelter. To see if to keep him alive, he would grant him shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. He wished only to borrow, he would repay it to borrow. Look at that, he just went to ant seeking for shelter from rain and grain for his hunger there. And what he said, it seems, he wished only to borrow and he would repay it tomorrow. Okay, hope you understand. So, he sought the help of the miserly ant for shelter and for food, and thereby he wished to repay it tomorrow. He would repay. So, he just wanted to borrow and stating that he would repay it tomorrow. If not, he must die of starvation and sorrow. So, he just approached the ant to provide him with food and a shelter, or he might die. He also said that he would repay it the next day. Now says the ant to the cricket, I am your servant and friend, but we ants never borrow, we ants never lend. Look at this ant now. So, it's a friend, it's a servant to the cricket there. At the same time, they are against lending and borrowing. No lending, no borrowing is the policy of the ants there. Now, how could this cricket react now? Okay, so it had wasted all the summer singing and dancing there, and the winter has set in. It is starving because of the famine, because of its irresponsible nature that he hadn't stored anything, and it was dying of hunger, and therefore thought it could approach the ant there. It went and sought for food and shelter, even stating that it would repay it the next day. What was the reply of the ant there? The ant said, it seems, of course, the ant was their servant and friend, but they had a very great policy: no lending, no borrowing. The ants never borrow, the ants never lend. But tell me, dear cricket, did you lay anything by when the weather was warm? Quoth the cricket. Quoth is an antique form of word for said or asked, said the cricket. Okay. But tell me, dear cricket, did you lay anything by when the weather was warm? Okay. Now you have just approached us for food and shelter. What were you doing during the warm days there? Didn't you have any responsibility to store for your future there? What sort of plan you had then? The cricket said or answered, not I. My heart was so light that I sang day and night. For all nature looked gay, for all nature looked gay, you sang, sir, you sing. Okay. Now look at the answer given by the cricket there. Okay. Hope you understand, children. The cricket was young and silly. The author calls it young and silly because it was whiling its time, singing and dancing all the time, not planning for the future, and pointing out to his irresponsible nature. Okay, and the ant, it approached the ant for food and shelter, and the ant answered that of course they are friends and servants only, but they had a very great policy of not lending and not borrowing. And therefore it asked the cricket what was it doing during the warm days. The cricket replied, it seems its heart was so light that it had spent it singing day and night, for the nature has boosted and encouraged that the admiration of nature had made him sing and dance for the whole time, not planning for the future. Look at the answer given there. For all, nature looked gay. Of course, nature is amazing. The colorful nature, it has been admired, that it was absorbed by its beauty, that it remained singing and dancing the day and night, and it was not bothered about its food and shelter. So it had wasted all the warm days where it had to be in the form to store for the future. Now the ant, for all nature looked gay. You sang, sir, you say. Now look at the question by the ant there. Okay, because nature has attracted you, admired you, you were singing for the whole time. You say so, sir, isn't it? Yes. Go then, says the ant, and dance the winter away. Okay, you had been spending your day dancing and singing. All the summer you had wasted. Now you go and dance the winter away. That could only be the solution, because we don't have the policy of lending and borrowing. Now you should have known your responsibility to sow for your future. Now you haven't done. Now similarly, you just go dancing the winter away. You had just wasted your summer in singing and dancing. Why don't you sing and dance the winter away? Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. He just chucked the cricket outside the door, it seems. Poor thing. Okay, it had wasted all the time there. So it had no proper plan that it would have to save for its future. It had wasted the entire summer there, and winter season is not a season of production there, and the snow has covered the entire ground. The trees were bare, the plants were bare without leaves and flowers there and fruits there. Now it was helpless. It was starving, and out of hunger it had to approach the ant there. Ant is a special creature, an industrious creature who always plan and executes its plan and thinks of the future here. So when the cricket approached the ant told, it seems, they had no policy of lending and borrowing, and asked cricket why it had done so. The cricket said that its heart was so light, admiring the nature, and because of that it had spent all the days and nights singing and dancing throughout them. So when you had no plan, and when you had no responsibility, and you hadn't known how to carry yourself, why should I help you? You had just enjoyed the nature during the summer. Go and enjoy the nature during the winter, singing and dancing. And thus it chucked the cricket out of the door, it seems. Okay, now this is a legend. It should not be done there, but here the poet Aesop points out that not only the cricket, there are some human beings who always stay idle. Now you will have to understand the difference, children, between the ideal and the idle. Ideal people always stand as role model for the others, and the idle people, they just lose their life there. They lead a meaningless life. They are always very lazy. They don't want to do anything, and they are always dependent on the other there. This should not be there. So through this poem, Aesop points out that you should not lead a dependent life. You cannot be helped all the time when you are dependent. You will have to stand independently, and you will have to plan for your future to lead a very safe and comfort life. That's what Aesop teaches us through this poem here. Go then, says the ant, and dance the winter away. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. There, he had just chucked the cricket outside the door. Folks call this a fable. Okay, people call this a fable there. I'll warrant it true. Some crickets have 4 legs and some have 2. So here the poet brings in the comparison. Okay, like the crickets, there are some human beings who are always like parasites, dependent on the others for anything and everything. That should not be the nature. We cannot be dependent. Sometimes we are dependent, okay, but that could not be the case always there. And therefore, the Aesop, through his fable, says that like the 4-leg crickets, there are 2 legs, and here 2 legs, he talks about the humans who are lazy. Okay. Lord Vivekananda says, hard work, hard work, hard work. There is no substitute for hard work. There is no substitute for hard work. You will have to work hard if you want to achieve. That is one of the things. This hard work is given by some other names like perseverance. You will have to perceive your thoughts. You will have to pursue your ideas, which means you should never give up. And here, like some of the human beings, the cricket has wasted all its days singing and dancing, and it blames that nature was too good, too colorful, too attractive, that admiring the nature, it had wasted all the time singing and dancing, it seems. Okay. And throughout the poem, we come across the figure of speech personification. So personification is nothing but the non-living things are considered to have life here. Here, the 2 creatures here, the cricket and the ants, are compared to human beings having the qualities of humans. Of course, humans will have to develop the quality of hard work. They should plan, they should execute their plans, and they should do everything here. And here, through this Aesop's fables, we come across the 2 characters, the animals characterized here with the quality of hard working, with the quality of storing, and here the lazy cricket here. Okay. So personification is a comparative form where the non-living things are considered to have human qualities. Here the cricket as well as the humans, the cricket as well as the ants are considered to have the qualities of human. And industrious creature that plants and works hard to store food grains for the winter season. It strives hard during the summer season and it stores for the winter season. And you are talking about the idle cricket, the lazy cricket, the young silly cricket that wasted all its time singing and dancing throughout and who had forgotten it to store there. And therefore, it complains and blames that the cupboard is empty without the food there, and the grounds are wet and cold, and it is spread and filled with snow, it seems. And therefore, it cannot do, and it was starving, and due to this famine, it thought of approaching the ant here. The ant accepted that it was a friend, but they live with the policy of no lending and no borrowing. It also went to that extent to chuck it out. It just pulled it out of the door and asked it to sing and dance as it had done the summer season, and go and dance the winter away, stating that the poet winds up saying that some crickets have 4 legs. Actually, he means the creature here, and some have 2, and these 2-legged creatures, of course, you will have to understand they are humans here. Through this poem, the poet teaches us to develop the quality of hard work and planning. Only with the proper planning and by executing the planning without any failure, maybe we can lead a safe and comfort life. And here says hard work is a quality that brings us fortune, whereas this idleness will bring only misfortune, like that of the cricket there. Okay. Now, I think we will just go through the key points here to summarize the poem here. Okay, so I think we have 4 points given there. This poem teaches the importance of hard work and planning. It is about a silly young cricket and an ant. As I already told you, two contrasting characters here, cricket an idle character and an industrious character. They always remain opposite here. The cricket spends its time by singing and dancing all the summer, and it had no plan to store for the future there. And when the winter came, its cupboard was empty, nothing could be found at all. Okay, so it goes to the miserly ant and begs to give him shelter and food. Okay, but the ant says that they never borrow from anyone and they never lend to anyone. The ant also questions the cricket what it was doing during the summer, when the cricket replied that since his heart was so light and happy, it sang all day and night. Hearing this, the ant gets angry and tells the cricket to sing and dance once again in all winter. He hurriedly sends away the cricket and shuts his door. See, look at that picture there. Okay, so it just kicks it out. We should always plan carefully and ensure a secure future. Okay, and here children, I have just given you with the glossary, and this glossary will have to be done for your comprehensive part of questions here. Accustomed to, be used to, and this accustomed to is used to the crickets were accustomed to, the cricket was accustomed to sing and dance here. Crumb refers to a piece of bread. Fable, a short story. Famine, extreme scarcity of food. Gay, glad, joyful. Hastily, hurriedly. Miserly, hesitant to spend money. Quoth, said. Warrant, guarantee, promise. Wicked. Okay, here I think it's a homophone. Okay, wicked, it's a cunning character, and wicked here refers to the door. Okay, see, these are the words you'll have to learn. Prose part you'll be doing it as vocabulary here, and this could be called as comprehensive questions. So what do you mean by gay here? Who was accustomed to, and what do you mean by quote? So this is how the questions will be asked here, and you will have to go through these words here. And figures of speech, of course, the poet has used the rhyming words, the rhyming scheme, alliteration, and the figures of speech, and here the entire poem goes by the personification. The personification is nothing but the non-living things considered to have the qualities of humans here. Now we have two characters here, two creatures here, ant and the cricket, and they are given with the qualities of humans. Of course, humans have the quality of soaring, which is given through the ant there, and again hard-working nature. Okay, again ant does it, so it works hard during the summer season and stores it for the winter season. Okay, so you have the hard-working nature. So these are the qualities of humans, and you find these qualities in the ant too. And thereafter you have this cricket, and the cricket, the poet introduces the cricket to us, stating it as young and silly. Of course, it had spent its time singing and dancing, and it was very lazy. Okay, it was not having its responsibility to store for the future and order. In fact, it had no plan at all. And similarly, you have some humans too, you have given there. See, two legs there, two-legged humans. Okay, they have the qualities there, but they don't showcase it. That's what he means to say. So the poem is full of personification, talking about the qualities of humans being carried out through the two characters, ant and the crickets here. Okay, children, so figures of speech, mostly you have the usage of personification. The qualities of humans are being carried away by the ant and the crickets here. And thereafter you have the rhyming words and the rhyme scheme, and thereafter you have alliteration. Alliteration is nothing but the repetition of the consonant sounds in the same lines. Okay, consonants other than A, E, I, O, U. Okay, I don't think you need lot of explanation because we have done it in our previous since 6th standard you have been doing it. So I thought I'll just give you just one example for each. Now these are the lines you'll have to read. Go then, says the ant, and dance the winter away. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the cricket, and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. Folks call this a fable. I'll warrant it true. Of course, people call it legend and all that there, but it is true actually, because like crickets, there are some people who stay idle, who are very lazy, who are not bothered about their future, who are not responsible to take care of themselves first and the people around them. Okay, but unless and until they develop these qualities of planning and working hard, they can never lead a secured and comfortable life. That is why. Okay, now these are the lines, and for these lines I think I have just given you 4 questions here. Now identify the figure of speech used in the second line. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket there. Okay, metaphor. Crickets are compared to humans who have 2 legs here. And then pick out the words of alliteration in the 4th line. Okay. Folks call this a fable. I'll warrant it true. Okay. Folk, fable. First sound, the repetition of consonant sound. Okay. Folk and fable. You have the repetition of the words beginning with F. And then pick out the rhyming words ending with the same sound. Okay. Now, wicket, cricket, words ending with the same sound. True, two, words ending with the same sound. Okay. So, rhyming words in these lines. Give the rhyme scheme for the above lines. Okay. A rhyme scheme. So, the pattern of the words there. Maybe they can just be placed in the next line or in the alternate lines. But here the first line ends with the way a different sound. Wicket, cricket. The second line goes by the same sound. So, therefore, it could be represented by small b. True to by small c. So, it goes like that. Okay. A, B, B, C, C. A, B, C, C. I think I have just left one. Okay. There are 5 lines given there. Okay. Just try to understand, children. Hope you have understood. It's a fable. Fables are short stories or short poems that impart some sort of moral to us there. And through this poem, Aesop, the author of these Aesop fables, insists or reinstates the qualities to be developed, the planning as well as the hard working nature. Majority of the humans have these qualities, whereas very few stay idle, like that of the cricket here. Okay, they do not have their own responsibility, and they always are found dependent on the others. Of course, being dependent will act for some time, will go on for some time, but not throughout. Okay, you should stand independent. Okay, and the nature of hard work and the nature of planning. Planning is the crucial step. Without planning anything, you cannot follow it in a systematic way. There will be a lot of confusion. Okay, so in order to put away all that, now you will have to plan properly and execute the plan properly. Okay, hope you have understood the poem, children. It's a very simple poem. Okay, it is an extract from Aesop's tale there, and you know the Aesop's fables always convey some models. They teach us some morals here, and this is a particular poem that talks on what is that? That talks on, yes, hardworking and responsibility and planning. Okay, now we have seen and who had followed all this and stores for the future there, and the cricket who had been dancing the summer season fully, and therefore it gets wild, and the ant just chucks him out of the house, stating that it could go and enjoy the winter also, singing and dancing. Okay, through this poem we have just understood hard work will fetch you fortune, whereas idleness will fetch you only misfortune, like that of the ants and like that of the crickets. So both are controversial characters here, and through these characters we have learned wonderful qualities of how we will have to help ourselves, carry ourselves by developing such responsible qualities in us so as to lead a very secured and comfortable life. Hope you have understood, children. Okay, now try to develop. And this hardworking is a quality that has no substitute for it. You will have to work hard for your future there. Okay, so try to take in this qualities there, try to develop the qualities there, and try to plan things and then execute your plans properly. So with this I wind up with this session. So we are doing with the 4th unit. Okay, previously we had seen the lesson attic, where we had learnt the quality of apologizing, and here we have learned to plan and work hard, like that of the ant there. So we have the supplementary, of course, that talks about the sublime love and the relation between the mother and the son there. Okay, we'll do it in the next class. Until then, read the poem. It's not a memory poem, but you'll have to read the poetic lines and answer the questions given there. So you come across comprehensive questions, you have identity questions, and thereafter you have the questions based on figures of speech. So it's a very simple poem. Now try to understand, read the poem, and try to complete the activities given there at the back there. Okay, thank you, children. Take care. God bless you. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you.